Montana native Chet Huntley was co-anchor of the NBC Huntley-Brinkley Report. Chet and David Brinkley caught the country's attention with their coverage of the 1956 National Convention. Over the next 14 years, Chet became America's most popular newscaster. Chet developed a reputation of airing his personal opinions on television and was accused by critics of editorializing with his eyebrows. Over his broadcast years, he owned a cattle ranch in Montana. In 1968, Chet wrote a memoir called The Generous Years of a Frontier Boyhood in Montana. He was born in Caldwell in 1911 and attended Montana State College in Bozeman. Chet retired from NBC News on August 1st, 1970, with great national attention, to return to Montana to create Big Sky Resort. Chet's first big project was as a spokesman for the Montana Travel Department's half-hour travel film, Montana, Land of the Big Sky, which would be aired on TV stations and in schools throughout the nation. Scotty Warden, Montana Travel Department Director, suggested the film. Here is Chet 2 days after his final news broadcast in Glacier National Park to film the opening scenes. I'm Bob Hinkle, co-producer with Jim Graff of Montana, Land of the Big Sky, featuring Chet Huntley. We also wrote, edited, directed, and did most of the filming. As I recall, it was most interesting that first day of the filming. High wind conditions delayed for a couple hours the helicopter to film the opening sequences. Surprisingly, Chet introduced himself with a handshake to the dozens and dozens of hikers on the 4-foot-wide trail. His greeting was, "Good morning, I'm Chet Huntley. Welcome to Grinnell Glacier." We donated the film to the Montana Historical Museum, who just completed its film preservation. This was through a $8,000 grant from the National Film Preservation Foundation. Scene-to-scene colors were enhanced of the 43-year-old film and a digital copy made so that the film would be enjoyed for generations to come. So sit back now and enjoy Montana, Land of the Big Sky, featuring Chet Huntley.
This rugged mountain beauty that you've just seen is one of the reasons I keep returning to my native land. My name is Chet Huntley, and this is my home state of Montana. I was born in the long shadows of these Rocky Mountains that sprawl throughout much of this western state. When I was still a child, my family bounced in an open wagon through the tall, waving buffalo grass to an eastern Montana farm. We became homesteaders. We lived off the land, well, almost. Montana soil spilled into my boots, and I've never been able to get it out completely. nor would I want to. Broadcasting has taken me to the far corners of the earth, but I always return here. To me, Montana is home, and all that magic word implies. But to thousands of other people, Montana assumes the role of friendly host. Tourism is the state's third largest industry. What do visitors discover in Montana? Well, let me be your guide. I'll show you some of my favorite country. Our tour starts at the top of the state, at Glacier National Park. Up high, where the snow-crowned mountains unfold in an endless panorama of exciting shapes and colors, unchanged from primitive days when the land was God's, and an Indian chief could worship his pagan spirits who dwelled on the summits of these extraordinary mountains. Sculptured by gigantic fingers of Ice Age glaciers, these rocky citadels still shoulder 60 living, moving glaciers. Melting rivulets, flashing like diamonds, race down the cliffs, leaping out into space as foaming cataracts, and splash into sapphire lakes, rimmed by quiet forests of emerald pine. Glacier Park is truly a national jewel. Many years ago, the noted naturalist, John Muir, described Glacier as the greatest care-killing scenery on the face of the North American continent. Step away from your automobile. Walk along fragrant wooded pathways, splashed with sun, and cushioned by generations of falling pine needles. Let your senses come alive. Forget yesterday. Never mind about tomorrow. Enjoy the timeless tonic of Glacier Park's peaceful wilderness. Montana is a land of extremes. Its snowy mountain ranges in the west are a cool contrast to the heat of the rolling eastern prairies. One of these scenic prairies now contains a state park called Makoshika, a Sioux Indian name literally translated to mean hell cooked over. Eastern Montana is a natural flyway for millions of waterfowl. Great chunks of this region have been forever set aside as wildlife sanctuaries. This sandstone tower guarding the south bank of the lower Yellowstone River carries an autograph of one of Montana's earliest tourists. In 1806, Captain William Clark, co-leader of the Lewis and Clark Discovery Expedition, carved the only remaining physical evidence of that famous journey. To reach the Pacific Ocean, these intrepid explorers had to secure horses. In what has been acclaimed by several art experts as one of the greatest paintings ever executed by an American artist, Lewis and Clark bargained successfully with Flathead Indian chiefs. This 25-foot wide masterpiece by Charles M. Russell hangs in the state capitol at Helena. Charlie Russell ranks as Montana's favorite son. Many of his greatest works can be viewed at this gallery next to the Capitol. Russell's achievement was to stop time with a paintbrush. He was a rough and ready cowpuncher in the Montana Territory of the late 1800s. Russell once said,
"I love everything about Montana. Nature has surely done her best here. No king of the old times could have claimed a more beautiful and bountiful domain."
Barbed wire fences changed Charlie Russell's Montana forever. But an exciting slice of the Old West still lives on. Hardly a summer weekend goes by without a rodeo in communities with such lyrical names as Red Lodge, Big Timber, Wolf Point, Great Falls, Plentywood. Yes, there's nothing quite like a Montana rodeo.
One of our pothole runners.
The Charles M. Russell Gallery holds more than just his art. Here, the state's colorful history unfolds before the onlooker. Did you realize that Lewis and Clark traveled 7,500 miles in their epic journey of discovery, and that a good share of it was in Montana? In fact, several of their campsites can still be viewed today. Like this all-important camp located at Three Forks, where the trout-rich waters of the Jefferson, Gallatin, and Madison rivers embrace to form the mighty Missouri River. The trout is king in Montana: Cutthroat, Rainbow, Eastern Brook, Loch Laven. Montana boasts 4,000 miles of fishing streams, much of it referred to by experts as Blue Ribbon. Anyone can catch a fish in Montana, but I'm not saying that you can always land it. Old-time Montana fishermen will tell you that meat's not meat until it's in the frying pan. Montana is a camper's delight. Hundreds of campgrounds, some fancy, some primitive, some near the highways, some quite remote, dot the scenic geography of Montana, fourth largest state in the United States. You'll discover plenty of elbow room here. Montana's renowned Big Sky doesn't mean much to the visitor exploring strange passageways inside Lewis and Clark Caverns. I was born just 10 miles from this giant limestone cave. What required Mother Nature 60 million years to create, the viewer can now admire in less than 1 hour. Although exceeded in size by Carlsbad Caverns and Kentucky's Mammoth Cave, it is unsurpassed for color and variety of odd formations. Welcome to Virginia City, Montana's lively little ghost town. While Civil War cannons thundered in the east and south, sourdough miners were scooping millions of dollars in gold nuggets from Montana's streams. Today you can stroll down boardwalks, peer into a Wells Fargo Express office, lift a glass of cheer at the Bale of Hay Saloon, or enjoy an 1890 melodrama at the Opera House. Here at Virginia City, the authentic Wild West is not far distant in the past. You are there. Frontier justice was swift. Every gold camp needed a Boot Hill cemetery. A miner with a poke of gold learned to trust no one, not even the law. A crooked sheriff at Bannock, Montana's first capital city, and his murderous deputies finally danced at the end of a hangman's rope. The Bannock of the old vigilante days is still here. Scores of other ghost towns await your exploration. Yellowstone National Park has 5 gateways, 3 of which are in Montana. Probably the most inspiring is the northeast entrance. Motorists climb to an altitude of 11,000 feet on the spectacular Beartooth Highway as it wiggles its way over the top of Montana's highest mountain range. Montana's raw beauty often leaves a viewer speechless. This was not true of John Steinbeck. He saw the beauty and eloquently spoke his thoughts. Here's what that famous American writer reported.
It seems to me that Montana is a great splash of grandeur. The scale is huge, but not overpowering. The land is rich with grass and color, and the mountains are the kind I would create if mountains were ever put on my agenda. If Montana had a seacoast, or if I could live away from the sea, I would instantly move there and petition for admission. Of all the states, it is my favorite and my love.
Ardent fishermen prefer another gateway to Yellowstone Park, from the north, along the Yellowstone River. The park's first tourists 100 years ago also chose this easy water-level route. Today, many of Yellowstone Park's visitors choose to arrive by air instead of by land. A modern jetport near West Yellowstone is located at Montana's 3rd gateway to this fabled wonderland. Although Rand McNally shows Yellowstone Park to be tucked mainly inside the borders of the state of Wyoming, Montanans like to think of it as their own pleasure ground. And for good reason, I suppose. Most of its gateways are in Montana. The early discovery expeditions originated from Montana Territory, and the first park superintendent was from Virginia City. But boundary lines are invisible lines. This incredible place rightfully belongs to all the peoples the world over. It is a living encyclopedia of nature. There is nothing comparable anywhere. It is truly a world apart. Other places and other countries may boast of hot springs, but nowhere are there so many, and nowhere are they so spectacular. Picture postcards cannot reveal the radiant splendor of the many ways hot water escapes from the ground in Yellowstone. Yellowstone is a paradox. One of America's most popular tourist attractions, it is also the final refuge for many animals threatened with extinction. Countless species of wildlife thrive in Yellowstone. No other refuge shelters as many elk, deer, moose, bear, antelope, buffalo, mountain sheep, and waterfowl in their natural environment. They are born free. They have never felt the scratch of barbed wire or heard the echo of a hunter's rifle. On the morning of June 25th, 1876, while scouting for the Indian encampment of the Cheyenne and the Sioux, 700 men of the 7th Cavalry spurred their horses into this valley. It was to become a rendezvous with death for General George Armstrong Custer and 5 companies under his command. It happened here near the Little Bighorn River, where every year a colorful reenactment is staged for visitors to this national monument. With the white man's winning of the West came the near extinction of millions of buffalo. Today you can admire these giants at the Moise Bison Range in the Flathead Valley. A sprawling mountain valley named after the Indian tribe that dwelled there, the Flathead still echoes with exciting ceremonial chants of its first inhabitants. Whatever your definition of relaxation is, you'll most likely find it in the Flathead. Worries fade away quickly here. Old-timers claim there never has been a case of ulcers diagnosed in this valley. That sounds like typical Chamber of Commerce talk to me. Or is it? Visitors quickly discover a smorgasbord of sights and sounds to entertain them. On the calm waters above thundering Kerr Dam, a hydroplane regatta mixes speed with scenery, thrilling spectators from near and far away. The Big Sky country is blessed with an array of recreational areas that just won't quit. But I don't believe you'll find a place with more scenery, excitement, and downright Western hospitality than the region surrounding the deep waters of Flathead Lake. It's a something for everyone vacation land. picturesque Gallatin Canyon, shown here near Lone Mountain, is also a mecca for outdoor recreation. One of these recreations is dude ranching. A dude ranch welcomes the big city guest, slows his frantic pace of living, lets him relax in Western comfort. A new person emerges, and oftentimes that person becomes a resident instead of merely an occasional guest. Such is the magic of the land of the big sky. Charlie Russell phrased it quite well 50 years ago when he said, "My brother, when you come to my lodge, the robe will be spread and the pipe of peace will be lit." Yes, myself and 700,000 other Montanans welcome you to this land, the land of the big sky, where the air you breathe is clean and pure. All we ask is that you leave Montana the way you found it, for the benefit of the others who are sure to follow.